Well, first of all, we're really excited about the off-season program that we've had, the attitude that this team has sort of presented, the work that we were able to get done, the conditioning level that we were able to achieve with a lot of the guys. I think the commitment has been good. So we had a really good off-season program. And I think the most important thing about the first practice is, I don't care what grade you're in, how long you've been here, whether you're an early enrollee, whether you're a senior. Everybody has got to focus on what they need to do to improve. So this is a good starting point for us. We're not disappointed where we are, but we're certainly not satisfied with where we are, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. But everybody has to have the ability to self-assess because I think that's the best way to improve. And there's not one player out there that's playing for us right now that doesn't have something that they can improve on. Obviously, it's a new team. You're looking for new leadership. There's guys that have opportunities at several positions, and there's competition at those positions. And it'll be interesting to see how, some of that stuff, shakes out for us. But, we got a couple guys that are going to be out for the spring. Corey Brooks is out for the spring. Darian Dalcourt will be out for the spring. Keanu Coate. All those guys are out for the spring, whether they had injuries coming out of the season or whatever. All the other players are doing some portion of practice and are making some progress toward being able to practice at some point in time in the spring. And those assessments will be made, as they make progress, throughout the spring. I know you probably asked me about the early enrollees. I'm sure if you got to speak to them, that I'll tell you that there's a lot of anxiety. My first practice as a college player. They're all sort of, going through a different level of a learning curve that they have to go through. We're pleased to have them here. I think it's going to be good for their development, and I think, some of these guys will be able to contribute to our team. We also have, 3 transfers, all of which I think will, create a role on the team for themselves. They were all impressive out there today. You're talking about older guys who have played in this league or in the ACC, and I think those 3 guys will be very helpful for us. I'm excited about the new coaches that we have. Every one of those guys have made a very positive contribution with their energy, enthusiasm, their knowledge, how they've helped contribute to, solving some of the issues and the problems that we sort of uncovered in self-scout in terms of things that we need to improve on. So we're excited about the staff. We're excited about the new enrollees. We're excited about the transfers. Nobody likes it that you have guys that, can't go out there and practice. But we also have to think about how we're going to get these guys ready to play next season. So all in all, I'm very encouraged by, sort of the effort, energy, attitude that, the players have had, and it's a fun group to coach.
We'll start in the back with Mike.
Wanted to ask about the analyst hires that you made between Zach Mettenberger and Todd Grantham and Derek Dooley.
Well, Todd Grantham and Derek Dooley have worked for me before. I've known Zach Mettenberger for a long time. It's Ken Wiesenhunt's son-in-law, and Ken and I are really good friends. Derek has worked for me in the past. He's been an offensive coordinator in this league. He's coached in the league. Todd's been a defensive coordinator, in college in this league for a long time. So those guys can, add significant knowledge and experience to help solve some of the issues and problems that we have. And I think, Zach is a very, very good young guy who's very bright and has a bright future. And I'm sure he's going to learn, and he's got great work ethic, and he's been very committed to doing a good job since he's been here.
From the middle with Aaron.
Kendall Randolph is a guy that's been in the program now 6 years. He can play tackle for you. He can flex out and play tight end. What kind of versatility is he bringing? What kind of example does he set? Because he does whatever you guys ask him to do for the other guys that can sort of have that sort of mindset on the team.
Well, I really love it when, guys like Kendall Randolph, show great resiliency, perseverance, to continue to want to try to develop as players, make a commitment to the team to do whatever you need to do to help the team be successful. And, this is one of the guys that I'm most proud of in terms of where he came from when he was a young player to where he is now, to graduate, to become a leader, to set a really good example, to have sort of great goals and aspirations for what he wants to accomplish in the future, and what his focus is and his commitment is to it. I think this is a great example of what college football should be, and he's created a lot of value for himself here by what he's developed into, and we're really, really proud of him, and I'm really happy to have him back. I think, the first thing we got to do is let him compete for a starting job in the offensive line, which is going to be our first priority for him in the spring.
Go on the left, Chris.
I want to ask about tight ends coach Joe Cox, and we haven't seen a tight ends coach that's focused on that position, so I'm wondering, is the position got more important, or is that just kind of the way it worked out with his coaching staff?
Well, philosophically, I think, we've had different blends of staff here, and, we had 6 coaches on offense, and Mike Loxley walked around, so to have the special teams coach be the tight end coach still gave you 5.5 coaches on offense. As the staff transpired, we ended up with an extra coach on defense. So like last year, we were a little bit imbalanced, and that's the reason for making the changes that we made to bring a guy in. If we're going to have a special teams coach on defense, let's at least have 5 guys that are focused on every position on offense, and not have what I call 4.5. One guy that's in special teams trying to coach the tight ends too. So I think that can be overwhelming sometimes, depending on how many other guys you have on the offensive staff. So I think it creates more balance for us. I do think it's a position now that requires a little more attention, because a tight end used to be a guy that lined up in the C area beside the tackle and put his hand in the dirt, and that's where he played from. Now the guy plays off the ball, he's playing like a fullback. He plays on the ball, he's playing like an old-fashioned tight end. He flexes out, he's playing like a wide receiver. So I think that for those guys to get a little bit more focused attention is probably really important. And I think Joe Cox is one of the bright young guys that I've been very impressed with his knowledge, and I think he's going to help us.
2 more, Charlie, and then Tony.
You mentioned Kendall competing on the offensive line. Just what have you seen from the young tackles and their progress from last season, and how do you kind of hope to see that carry over into the spring?
Well, we've had one practice, so I don't know how I can assess anybody's progress from last year to this year. I know they've worked hard in the off season. I think they're in better condition. I think they've improved their bodies. Damian George had a really good offseason. So I think, we're encouraged by the progress that he makes, whether he plays guard or tackle. We're going to, see if Javion Cohen should be a guard or a tackle. We'll see if J.C. Latham should be a guard or a tackle, Kendall Randolph to be a tackle. Tommy Brockemeyer has, got a chance to compete at the position. He was kind of in and out a little bit, fighting some injury things in the offseason, but we think that, he'll be able to make progress in the spring. So there's a lot of competition at the position, and, quite frankly, we're moving a lot of guys around to try to see how we can get the best 5 guys out there to play. So, and I'm not disappointed in the progress that any of them have made to this point.
Finish up here with Tony.
I'll stick on the offensive line. Your last 4 title-winning teams have had a team captain at center. When you're looking to put together the best 5, is that one of the first places you look, is to kind of establish that center position and kind of move out? Or
Well, I think center position is always important, but we have 2 guys that started significant games last year that are both centers. So Darian Dalcourt played really well last year, and so did Seth when he got the opportunity to play. So, Darian's going to be out in the spring, but when he comes back, Seth's a good leader. He's a tough guy. I feel really good about those 2 guys. Just trying to get the other guys in the right spot, and maybe who do we develop to be a third center, because that's always an important spot to, have somebody that can fill if you lose a guy.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.